These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. There's a 1 in 3 chance police will never identify your killer if you were murdered in the United States. If the sun exploded now, you wouldn't know about it for another 8 minutes. 20% of children report hearing voices. There are 40 supervolcanoes around the world, capable of claiming 1 billion lives. And we are about 24,000 years overdue for an eruption. The air you breathe in train stations is 15% human skin. There are over 200 dead bodies on top of Mount Everest, because retrieving them is such a risk. They serve as markers for other hikers. When you die, your house cat is going to want to eat you. Speaking of pets, dogs like squeaky toys because they mimic the screams of their prey. Yeah, there's a lot more. Like for part 2. These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. The pacu fish from South America has human-like teeth. There's a haunted Russian radio station. It's a low-frequency radio station that's been broadcasting since 1982, and no one knows where the broadcast is originating. When you die, your hearing is the last sense you lose. Speaking of death, finally, the death outnumber the living, 15 to 1. You swallow 1 to 2 cups of mucus every day. Pine trees can grow in human lungs. A man once went into surgery to remove what doctors thought was a tumor, but it was a pine tree growing in his lungs. There was a chicken called Mike the Headless Chicken. He lived for 18 months after its head was cut off. In 1800s, dentures were made out of the real teeth of deceased people. Yeah, with 1 dentist visit, you would have been eating with a dead man's teeth for the rest of your life. Like for part 3. These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. Being buried alive accidentally occurred so often that people invented safety coffins. In the Middle Ages, people used to eat mummies for medical purposes. It's the main reason we don't have a lot of mummies left today. In the United States, there are more vacant homes than homeless people. Did you know that the actress Glenn Close was raised in a cult? The Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland used to have real skeletons as props. In 1976, a TV crew realized one of the hanging bodies in the Laugh in the Dark ride was indeed a real body by accidentally breaking it. Women in the 18th century used lead as makeup. This is the first chainsaw. It was invented by 2 Scottish doctors. And it was invented for childbirth. Yeah, there's a lot more. Like for part 4. These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. If given access to it, butterflies will happily drink blood. Astronauts must drink 730 liters of recycled sweat and urine to live in space for a year. The hospital bed you were once in had many dead people laying on it. Speaking of death, 153,000 people die every day. You're not scared of being alone. You're scared of not being alone when you're supposed to be. After 10 minutes of watching yourself in a mirror, your brain gets bored and distorts your reflection, causing imaginary monsters such as Bloody Mary. Eventually, there will be more dead people on Facebook than alive. More than 7,000 people die every year due to the doctor's bad handwriting. Yeah, there's a lot more. Like for part 5. These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. In ancient Rome, soldiers used to drink fresh warm blood to cure epilepsy. There are antidepressants that eliminate someone's ability to feel love and compassion. The Exorcist movie resulted in many of its cast dying, including 2 actors whose characters died in the movie. In 2017, an asteroid named AG-13 passed by our home planet with less than the distance of the moon. Scientists saw it coming only 2 days before it could have hit Earth. One of the most haunted dolls is Robert. It belonged to a child named Eugene in 1904. The 2 most dangerous books are called Shams al-Ma'arif and Al-Ghazali. They carry rituals for summoning demons. In ancient England, people used tops of hollowed human skulls to drink and eat. At Harvard University, there's a book bound in human skin, like for part 6. These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. Horror movies use tracks that include infrasounds. They cannot be heard by human ears, but they are known to induce anxiety and heart palpitations. 44% of the information shared on worldwide news is inaccurate. To date, the US lost 6 nuclear bombs and never recovered them. According to paranormal experts, when you have a nightmare, real spirits or demons are trying to contact you, but your body rejects them and wakes you up for safety. In 1954, a man arrived at an airport and had a passport issued by the country of Torrid, which does not exist. Police locked him in a high secure room and he vanished. There are computers for the Amish, which have no internet, videos, or music. There are organizations that manipulate the stock market, spending Spending just a few months in Antarctica can shrink your brain. There's a lot more, like for part 7. These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. Sometimes you laugh, talk, and cry in sleep. It's often a spirit sitting beside you in bed. You are more likely to be bitten by someone in New York than to be bitten by a shark. A human head remains conscious for 20 seconds after being decapitated. If you search up this number on Google, you'll find people with their heads in fridges. Gelatin is made out of bones. That's right. The melted marshmallow in your hot chocolate is melted animal bone. It's good stuff. You have no way of really knowing if everyone experiences reality and consciousness the same way you do. If a panda finds a fresh carcass, they'll eat it. And last but not least, your phone is likely spying on you right now as you're watching this. Yeah, there's a lot more, like for part 8. These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. An average human walks past 36 murderers in their lifetime. There's future biotech technology when injected into prisoners. It makes them feel they served a 1,000-year sentence in a matter of 8 hours. The blue whale ejaculates over 40 gallons of sperm when mating. Only 10% enters the female. And you always wonder why the sea tasted salty. If you block your nose when you sneeze, you can rupture a blood vessel in your neck that can make you bleed to death. People that are left-handed die 3 years faster than people that are right-handed. Watching horror films can burn up to 200 calories. You may be living the last year of your life without being aware of it. You are always 6 minutes away from death. Breathing just resets the clock. There's a lot more, like for part 9. These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. If you smell burnt toast and there's nothing actually burning, you are most probably having a stroke. If you have 5 brothers, one of you will go to 5 funerals, while another won't see even one. If you shiver randomly, that means a ghost passed near or through you. There are 2 days that don't last 24 hours. The one of your birth and the one of your death. In the original Little Red Riding Hood, the wolf forced her to eat her grandma. You've never actually seen your face, only photos and reflections. People who fall in love lose an average of 2 friends each. By the time you reach the age of 18, on average, you have 3,300 weekends left in your life. Yeah, there's a lot more, like for part 11. These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. There are thousands of old diseases frozen in the glaciers of the world, and global warming will eventually release them all. If a person dies in their costume at Disney, like Mickey Mouse, they have to be sat down on a bench so it looks like they're resting. Climate change is making spiders bigger. Some female spiders allow their young to eat them alive. Tooth in the eye surgery is when surgeons put a tooth in a blind person's eye to restore their sight. It was pioneered in the 1960s, and it actually works, and it's still being done today. The chances of a successful CPR outside of a hospital is only 7%. Cell phones are 10 times dirtier than a toilet seat. When you suddenly wake up during the night without any reason, there was someone or something staring at you. Yeah, there's a lot more, like for part 12. These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. 41% of Americans go into medical debt every year. No other developed country even has that concept. Most of the oxygen comes from the oceans, but people are busy talking about protecting trees and not the ocean. Dracula is based on a real person. Paris is romantic, right? What's more romantic than millions of human remains? The catacombs under Paris hold remains of roughly 60 million plague victims. Cockroaches can live without their heads for weeks. You can't die from old age, only from diseases brought on by age. Cannibals find the palm of the hand tastiest. Joke's on them. They don't know where my hand was this morning. Don't think you can outrun a crocodile. Crocodiles can gallop. Yeah, there's a lot more, like for part 13. These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. When Apollo 11 landed, it only had 20 seconds of remaining fuel. 4 months ago, a deceased rapper by the name Gunu had his corpse on stage while fans were partying around his body. The average person wastes 5 months of their lives waiting for red lights to turn green. Cruise ships have morgues, just in case someone, during the trip. If you have red eyes after swimming, it's not from chlorine. It's from the chlorine mixing with other people's urine. The furthest part of the ocean from land is Point Nemo. If you get stuck there, you're not coming back. Sunburn are your cells dying to avoid being cancerous. Most laugh tracks and shows are people from the 50s, which means you're hearing the laughter of dead people. Yeah, there's a lot more, like for part 14. These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. Vending machines are lethal. Yes, 13 people a year get killed from vending machines. Cats can sense when their owners are dying. Babies have more bones than adults. Spiders can survive in space. Your rectum is the first part of your body to develop, which means in one point of your life, you are just a... Several species of birds keep cool by defecating on themselves. Your stomach lining blushes when you do. On average, 173,000 people die per day. Yeah, there's a lot more, like for part 15. These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. Up until the 1980s, some doctors didn't believe newborns could feel pain. There is a book called The Wreck of the Titan. It predicted the Titanic ship tragedy, and it was written 14 years before it happened. Until the 20th century, human remains were used in the making of medicine. Climate change is making Middle Eastern countries colder and Western countries warmer. There is a church in Czech Republic called the Sedlik Ossuary, and it's decorated with human bones. Another fact about this church: it holds the skeletons of 70,000 people. 4-year-old Dorothy Good was the youngest person to be accused of witchcraft. While Ted Bundy was a psychology major at the University of Washington, he worked at Seattle's Suicide Hotline Crisis Center. Yeah, there's a lot more, like for part 16. These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. One of your photos that you have today will be used in your funeral. There are more slaves today than any other time in history. According to the founder of the Walk Free Foundation, there are 46 million slaves in the world today. Your eyes can still move after your death for 15 to 30 seconds. Watching TV for more than 2 hours a day can shorten your life expectancy by 1.4 years. In 1977, we received a radio signal from space that lasted 42 seconds. To this day, no one knows where that signal came from. A lit candle causes more than 15,000 house fires every year. Spider rain could happen at any moment above you. Bill Skarsgård, who played Pennywise in the 2017 version of It, was born in 1990, the year the original It was released. Yeah, true story. I met a woman, very rich. She was wearing jewelry and brands from head to toe. So I asked her, "What's your secret? What'd you do?" She said, "I'm a saver, not a spender." Okay, what does that mean? She said, "Let's assume I get minimum wage." What's minimum wage nowadays? I'm like, I don't know, $20 a day, maybe. She said, "I'm going to save up 10% of what I get paid a month in a savings account. So I'm going to save $2 every day." I said, "Okay, but that's $730 a year. What am I going to do with $700? She said, No. For 20 years, saving that amount, you will make $14,600. I said, "Miss, I'm not trying to burst your bubble, but in 20 years' time, the $14,600 is not going to be the same value as today. We're probably going to go through like 3 different recessions, inflations, deflations, war. And even if the value never changed, what am I going to do with $14,000? She said, "Start a business." "What kind of business? A candy shop?" She said, "Okay, tell me, what's your secret?" I said, "I'm going to do exactly what you planned to do. I'm going to save $2 every day. After year 1, I will purchase a bond. Let's assume the yield was 4%. After every year, I will purchase a bond with the exact same rate and still save the $2 a day every year. And I will add that $730 a year on top of the capital. And instead of 20 years, I will make $14,600 in just 15 years. I just saved 5 years off your lifespan, helping you reach the exact same goal. I know for a fact you didn't save $2 a day, and you have 5 Rolls Royces parked outside your mansion. So what is your secret?" She said, "I grew up in a very poor village in South America. I met a very rich guy from Manchester that came on a tourist trip. One thing led to another, and we got married." So you're married to a rich guy from Manchester. But how did you make your money though? Well, he died 6 years ago. Let me tell you how the feminist movement was the devil's plan. Modern-day feminism is a war against masculinity. Before this movement, a mass amount of women stayed at home while their husbands were at work. A lot of them had no jobs, so they couldn't be taxed. And the lords didn't like that. Rockefeller started funding feminist campaigns in the media. Modern feminists are convincing women that hookup culture and not shaving your armpits is liberation. Did you also know that this movement caused birth rates to plummet? We are not producing as many humans as we used to in the past. Emasculating a man does not make you a stronger woman. Sit down. You have been scammed by a man. The blue-haired feminists are contributing to one man's bank account. Facts. You have no idea about the devil behind your movement. And when someone speaks up, you just like he never existed. Wake up. So I found these conspiracy theories that are so believable they actually might be true. Part 3. Number 1. The 40,000-pound Navy bomb. The US Navy detonated this 40,000-pound bomb in the ocean in Florida. Many people were concerned because the Navy stated that this was simply just an exercise. But others were certain that they were trying to kill a deadly threat in the ocean that we should not know about. I don't know. This exercise was at the coast in Florida. Doesn't seem like the right place for training. Number 2. Tupac Shakur is not dead. Every time a celebrity dies, people will try as much as they can to debunk the news. But Tupac's story is a little different. None of the suspects behind his murder were sent to prison. Suge Knight was a suspect, but the prime suspect was Orlando Anderson. And he was accused 2 years later, but he was already shot and killed as well. So we never got a real confession. The craziest thing is that Tupac's closest friend, Snoop Dogg, has stated himself that Tupac is alive. And he says it in a way where he's not supposed to expose the truth.
When Pac died, if he really did, you know.
If he really died, what do you mean by that?
I mean, when I left that hospital, me and Pac was laughing and joking. So I don't see how somebody can turn from doing well to doing bad.
So you seriously think that he might still be alive?
I'm gonna tell you this, Pac, you never know. I'm gonna tell you this, Pac, you never know.
Oh, there you go.
Suge Knight, the man that was in the car with Tupac when he got shot, also said this.
This happened, that happened, right?
Right.
If you think about it, right?
Right.
Why you think nobody been arrested if they said they didn't want to kill Tupac?
Because they're snitching to the police, so they ain't
Not
gonna get
just to
arrested.
snitch and be smart, son. Because Tupac not
ain't as smart as you
dead.
should be.
Tupac not dead, If he was dead, they'd be arresting those dudes for murder. You dead, If he was dead, they'd be arresting those dudes for murder. You know he's somewhere smoking a Cuban cigar.
I don't know what the truth is, but if Tupac is alive, I think the whole world needs him back. You are a slave. Let me explain why. We are being controlled in this world. Everything we do, every move we make is remotely controlled by these people. Every human is born with the pineal gland. The pineal gland is known as the third eye or the sixth sense. It enhances your spiritual senses. It makes you analyze information faster. It makes you take the right decisions. It makes you sleep better, and much more. These people don't want your pineal gland to be activated because you become smarter and stronger. They deactivate your pineal gland using fluoride. They add fluoride in everyday necessities we consume. Drinking water has fluoride, and it's been proven that fluoride is cancerous. What is the first thing you do in the morning? Brush your teeth. Toothpaste contains fluoride. We are constantly shutting down this gland. Without this gland, we are more prone to weakness, staying up late, depression, and anger. Good news though, fluoride-free products exist. These are the most haunted places in South Africa. Starting at number 4, the Tokai Manor House. Tokai Manor House was built in 1795. In 1990, the owner of the house, Frederick Eckstein, was challenged to ride the horse in the living room. He accepted the challenge. While doing the challenge, the horse collapsed down the balcony, and both the horse and the young man did not survive this strange event. To this day, People who visited the house report that there are strange noises of laughter echoing in the manor. There have also been unrealistic images of a man riding on a horseback galloping around the residence. Number 3. Magisfontein Haunted Hotel. This is South Africa's most haunted hotel, infested with demons. There are 2 main ghosts that haunt this place. One called Cathy, that usually stays in her bedroom, and one called Lucy. Every single person who has been inside this place heard at least one of them. Well, to me, Cathy and Lucy are afrits, nothing to be messed with. Number 2. The Kimberley Africana Library. This place is so messed up. Librarians say that if you request a book, a ghost would knock it down a shelf onto the floor for you. No thank you, Habibi. You stay where you are. I can get the book myself. And finally, number 1. The Castle of Good Hope. After reading a lot about this place, I don't think there is any good hope. Centuries of violence in the Cape of Good Hope Castle have left a legacy of disturbed spirits. There have been sightings of 2-meter-long jinns in this place, and rumors from several visitors that they have witnessed a large black dog. Also, when the bell tower is empty, the bell rings on its own sometimes. This place is open for guests. However, no one is recommended to visit this place after sunset. You tell me, what country should I do next? These are the most haunted places in Pakistan. Starting at number 4. Shah Allah Dita Caves in Islamabad. This famous tourist spot in Islamabad is advised to only be visited at daytime. In Islam, caves are known to be homes for jinns. Visitors have reported hearing shrill noises from within these caves, and the locals don't usually go anywhere near them. Number 3. Sheikhapura Fort in Lahore. Sheikhapura Fort is a historical fort located in the district of Lahore. The fort is currently in awful shape, and no one is willing to restore the site. But anyone who dares to go near the fort returns with fear and horror. It is said that the last queen that resided in the fort died there, and it has since been haunted. Number 2. Mohatta Palace in Karachi. This palace is ranked as the most haunted historical landmark in Pakistan. Today, this palace serves as a museum. The guards and the workers in this palace have experienced dreadful activities. They would see artifacts moving from their place. They would hear noises of people having a party inside. And they would be physically touched by unseen beings. Let alone, the staff always warn visitors not to come alone if they want to avoid an unwanted encounter. And finally, number 1. Karsaz Road in Karachi. The Bride of Karsaz is a horrific tale about a newlywed couple that died in a car crash on Karsaz Road. Since then, there have been several sightings of a bride dressed in red that lingers around the road. But it gets even more sinister. Several people have reported that a bride stands on the side of the road at night, signaling late-night travelers for help. Once they stop, the bride's face turns into something unearthly, almost like a decomposing body, and she chases them down. Eyewitnesses say that they were chased by the bride, with her running as fast as their cars. It's safe to say that Karsaz Road isn't the most welcoming place in Pakistan. You tell me, what country should I do next? These are the most haunted places in the Philippines. Before I start listing them down, you do need to know that for all paranormal investigators, the country of Philippines is on their to-do list, as it's known worldwide for its haunted destinations. Starting at number 4, Fort Santiago, Intramuros in Manila. The walls of Intramuros turn into something terrifying, reminding you of the dark Spanish era. Thousands of civilians and soldiers were tortured and killed in Fort Santiago during World War II. It may be a hot tourist spot, but at night, the strange noises that are heard in this fort tends to keep visitors and tourists away. Number 3. Clark Air Base Hospital in Pampanga. This abandoned building used to be a military hospital during World War II and the Vietnam War. Paranormal investigators have confirmed that demons have conquered this property. It is commonly visited by YouTubers, but things always go wrong. The jinns that are specifically in this hospital are a little more protective towards their home. Number 2. Manila Film Center, Pasay City. This building is potentially one of Asia's most haunted destinations. When a building is haunted in the United States, you will hear noises. But when a building is haunted in the Philippines, it is a whole nother level. This film center was abandoned in the 80s after it collapsed during construction. It killed all the workers and none of their bodies were retrieved. And ever since, visitors were always warned to stay out of this building. The bad energy in this place spiritually drains you. And finally, number 1, Diplomat Hotel in Baguio City. Baguio City is ranked as the world's most haunted city as a whole. The Diplomat Hotel goes way back to 1911. No priests were able to cleanse this place. After many deaths inside this hotel, the business ceased its operations in 1987. Many paranormal investigators from around the world swore that they would never visit this building again. The Philippines is a beautiful country, but it is well known for its horrifying stories. You tell me, what country should I do next?